Hello, today we are going to be looking at credit notes in Zoho Books. And what is the essence of credit notes? This is a document that is issued by a vendor to a customer, maybe like a supplier. You are issuing this particular credit note to a customer when they return a particular goods that you sold to them. You understand? Maybe this happen maybe due to reason for, like, let's say there's a damaged goods, or they are not satisfied with the item, or the specification they requested for was not what you rendered to them, so they return this particular item. So in that case, it's going to reduce the income you earned, and it's also going to increase the inventory that you have that you've sold. So let's go ahead. You go down to sales here and you locate credit notes. Now once you click on credit notes, you see we have new over here. You click on new credit notes. So from new credit notes, you can go ahead to enter, let's say, a customer name. So I'm going to be selecting, let's go with George. All right, okay, George. And I'm also going to be this is the credit note number. The location is head office. So if you have different location, you are going to also select the location for which the item was returned to. If it is branch office, you select branch office so that it can actually add up to the branch office balance. Now the billing address, if you have any new address or shipping address, you can actually click on new address here and enter the billing address for Mr. George, or the shipping address. So billing address can be that you are billing them from the head office, you bill them from the head office, and the shipping address was the item was coming from the branch office. So that is the difference between these two. So when you go down here, credit note number, this is generated systematically, but if you want to input it manually, you can click on these settings, this gear option, and you enter the credit note manually. Or you can decide that, okay, I want it to start counting reading from 5 or something like that, and to start reading from. And if you also want to change the prefix, you can also change the prefix, maybe like, let's say, BN, or any other preference that you need. So let me just cancel that. Then reference. Now I suggest reference here, it will be better for you to enter the invoice number that you use. If it is an invoice you created, the invoice number for that particular transaction when you sold to this particular customer, which is George, the return has to be effected to that invoice. So just a reference number will do. Then the credit note date, which is today, 2nd of October, is also okay. Now if you have a salesperson that is tracking, that you're using, that a salesperson that is interacting directly to this customer George, you can also select, because this is important, because it will assist you when you are doing, what is it called, maybe commission, or you are trying to calculate how much is due to this particular salesperson as a result of the sales they have made to George. And if you have any other subjects you want to let this particular, any notes you want this particular customer to be aware of, you can put it in here. Now coming to the item table, we are going to select an item for the return. So let's say we are selecting buttons, and we received, there was a return of 5 buttons at 2 naira, at 200, you see. Then if it is taxable, you include, right? If the initial invoice was not taxable, you can let that be. Then you can see the total amount, 1000. Now this is the head office, right? These items is on from head office. Now if you want to see any recent transaction that you've had with you've made with buttons, you can click on this drop down, and let's go for invoice, for instance. You can see from the drop down you sold to George on the 18th of July and on the 9th of July respectively. Here you sold 12 and here you sold 10, right? And these are the invoice numbers 003 and 001, right, at 200. So this can also assist you to ensure that you confirm that this item was actually sold to George and is returning this item to you as a result of the sales that you made. And you can also reference the date and the invoice number. So now the next thing to do is to also, if there is Zoho, you can just go ahead. If you want to, if there are many items, you can do add items in bulk. So you can say, okay, like cotton fabric, this and button. You can also add the quantities and also reduce the quantities. The total will be shown here as 5. So, but we are not using that option. I just want to show us how possible it is. And you can also search in case the long list of items. You can just come here and type, let's say produce, right? Produce. You can see it will just filter for you, and you select that particular item. Now, if there was a discount, I think this is return. So basically, you might not just want to be interested to this. Then if you have any other notes, you add. Then terms and conditions, you also include over here. Then the email, this is the Prime Hub next. This is email for George, right? It will actually send to that email. So now you can save as draft or save as open. Save as draft, we are still working on it. You have not yet concluded on the details that you have on the return. So, but you just want to make sure you keep a record about the transaction. Then once you are done, you save as open. So once it is saved as open, the credit note has been created. The credit note has been created. Okay, so the next thing to do is let's check our report to see how it affects our report. Yeah, but before then, it is just showing us a return. We have options here. We have options to email this to the customer. You can also still edit this if there is any correction you need to make. You can also print as PDF, or you can save as PDF or print, right? You can also apply this to an invoice or request for refund. If you have an open invoice, you can use the apply to invoice. So once you click on apply to invoice, if you have an open invoice, it would apply to those invoices, but there are no invoices in the open status for this customer, hence credit cannot be applied. So we are going to go for refund. So let's click on refund. So we want to refund this amount. So you can see that we have the amount, which is 1,000 based on our computation, and payment method is bank remittance or bank transfer, whichever, and then from this account, and 2nd of October. So I'm going to click on save. If you have any reference to the refund information for this credit note has been saved. So for this, let's go back to reports and see how this transaction will reflect on our report. So if you go to, let's say, profit and loss, and let's use custom. I think I would like to select this. Let me just use this here. Alright, so this here, then run the report. Okay, so now if you click on this sales, see we have the history of transactions, and we have that of 2nd of October and 1,000. So it has been registered. On the credit side, here are the revenues. Debit side is reducing the revenue balance. It's obvious, you can see that from here. So that is that. So what if we look at balance sheet? Let's just say inventory. Okay, so let me go down. So we have balance sheet, and I want to select this here, then run the report. Then this is a Butter Clearing Bank Petty Cash. Let me click on Petty Cash. Okay, which bank do we select? Let me go back. I think it should be Butter. Let's check on Butter. This is the 1,000, right? As an inflow. Formerly there was 800, so I was supposed to select the petty cash, not barter. This particular one was used for a different transaction. Okay, so it has been reflected.